continues next week. I can't believe what we have witnessed. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Buffalo Stampede. Happy holidays from all of us here at the Athletic Department of the University of Colorado. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. As we're wrapping up the calendar year of 2017, on the show today, we're wrapping up all 17 sports here at the University of Colorado as well. We're doing 2-in-1 here right now. It's that kind of holiday deal. Mark Wetmore from CU Cross Country, men's and women's. Well, as we glance back to 2017, I know you and I have talked enough before. You felt good about your team. Maybe didn't hit some of the expectations or goals maybe you had, but kind of glance back on the season for us.
First, thanks for following us throughout the season.
You bet.
We got more television coverage than ever before. Cross-country runners and coaches aren't used to that. We had a good year by all normal standards. But honestly, a couple of disappointments by ours. The men had a long streak of winning the Pac-12 and were unable to defend it this year by a very narrow margin. But a win's a win and a loss, and a loss is a loss. And so the men were second to Stanford. The women won again. Pretty happy with the Pac-12 NCAA. As you know, we hoped to finish a little higher than the third and the eighth that we had. I think the women ran well. Two better teams just outran us. The men weren't their best.
It is interesting sometimes. I remember talking with you and kind of looking back. I believe it was the NCAA tournament where the Buffs ran a better time in the nationals than they did in the regionals that were there. And so sometimes it's tough to measure, but the results don't quite turn out the way you expect them to.
In the case of the women, if they go to the pre-nationals, which is held 5 weeks before the nationals, they run the same course, 6 kilometers on the same course. The men, unfortunately, are not on comparable courses because it's a 1.25 mile difference. In the case of the women, they ran faster at the NCAA than they did 5 weeks prior, but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah. The Pac-12, one of the better cross-country conferences, of course, in the nation. For the women to win that though, that's a nice feather in the cap for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, I don't remember it exactly, but we were third. I think Oregon was fourth, and maybe Stanford was fifth in the NCAA championship. So the Pac-12 is probably, well, right now it's definitely the best cross-country conference in the country. It's hard to win, and it's hard to defend, and we'll see about next year.
How about the year that Danny Jones had for the women's team?
Danny had almost an excellent year. She didn't come to us as a heralded cross-country runner. She came to us as a middle-distance runner, 800 and 1,500 out of high school. She's been excellent at those distances. She's won a conference two conference championships at middle distances, but not known as a cross-country runner. So to throw her hat in the ring among the best in the country this year was a nice step for her. A little bit under the weather for the NCAA. It didn't cost her the win, but it probably cost her a couple of spots.
Well, looking forward with the CU women's team, I mean, what are the losses? What are the expectations? How do you kind of view this team moving forward?
Well, it's been a deep team for years. I'm learning, though, that so are some other teams. So that it's our best team ever doesn't mean we win. We bring back a lot of people. Out of the team that raced at the NCAA a month ago, we bring back all the women but one. And then there's some good new young people working hard. One or two that were banged up this year that we could plug back in. It'll be a good team next year. All
right. You also mentioned the men's team finishing 8th in the NCAA championships. How do you kind of view that group moving forward?
Our men's team for 2017 was not deep. And so when we had to sit out a very important athlete for our team, John Dressel, it was a big hit. It cost us 100 points at least at the NCAA championship. So he comes back. He's healthy. Everybody else is a year older. We lose some good people, but we have some really good emerging young people. Eduardo Herrera ended up our top finisher at the NCAA, and he's a redshirt freshman. So another year, we'll be better.
Do you generally find, I mean, when you look at football, athletes become stronger as they get older. Is it similar type situation with runners in terms of their strength and how they compete?
Maybe more so, yeah. A 19 or an 18-year-old distance runner cannot run with a 23 or a 24-year-old distance runner. So it's uncommon to break out a male freshman, and we did not. Eduardo is a redshirt freshman, so he's had a year to get used to things. Anyway, yes, that's a really good insight. Age matters in distance running.
And for the Colorado Buffaloes, boy, in cross country, the season really doesn't end. It seems like it's 12 months out of the year you folks are practicing and training.
Yeah, the distance runners take a week and a half off, start back up again. They're already running 12, 15 miles a day. They have indoor track, then they have outdoor track, and in some cases into the summer. So, no, there's no break for distance running.
Well, it's just around the corner once again as we wrap up 2017, looking at all 17 sports here at the University of Colorado. There's a glance with Mark Wetmore at men's and women's cross country. Welcome back to the Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. As the calendar year of 2017 is wrapping up, we're wrapping up all 17 sports here at the University of Colorado. Mark Wetmore joins us from the track team now, and really this would be 4 sports we're wrapping up: indoor, outdoor, men's, and women's. I don't know how we break this up totally and kind of talk about it a little bit here, but kind of glance back to 2017. How was the track season for the Buffaloes?
I was happy with both indoor and outdoor gender performances. We had people at the NCAA indoor meet in middle March doing pretty well. I think we had some of our highest finishes ever on a national level at the indoor championships at Texas A&M. So that was good. And the same thing happened again to outdoors, except that outdoors we have a Pac-12, indoors we don't. And we did very well at the Pac-12. Women third, I believe, men fourth, our highest finishes ever since we've joined that conference. And then followed it up with some good performances at the NCAA. So it was a pretty good year.
Okay, is there a difference when you compete indoor and outdoor for the athletes?
Yeah, I think there is a big difference. It's up to the coach to orchestrate how to design the training. Some coaches highly emphasize indoor track. There's a national championship, which we're usually not contenders for. But I guess if you do have a team that is, then you have to put a lot of extra work into it. We tend to train for May and June and run indoors for fun. And mostly at the University of Colorado, that's the function of indoors, is to kind of break up the cabin fever and measure their progress.
You know, when you think about the Buffaloes in track, a lot of times many of the points are coming from hurdles and of course, the distance. And the distance was very good for Colorado in the track season.
I think everybody we had at the indoor nationals came out of the middle and long distance group. But as you started to mention, outdoors we had an emergence of our hurdlers under Coach Burke Bachman in just his second year here. We had points in the short hurdles, points in the long hurdles, both men and women, particularly Jaron Thomas doing really well, but also some new young people, Trenton Stringari and some of the early women, some of the new women. So lots of reason to believe that points will be coming out of there, and then back again to the distance runners. A lot of young people, they'll be back.
Well, I was going to say, when we talk distance runners, are we talking about generally the same athletes that we talk about when we talk cross country?
Yeah, sorry if it's boring. Old Danny Jones, just season after season after season. But
death, taxes, and Danny Jones, right?
She follows in the footsteps of Emma Coburn and Jenny Simpson and people who've scored a lot of points for us through 3 seasons a year.
You know, you think of an athlete here at the University of Colorado that's made a name for himself in football, Isaiah Oliver, who's now going to jump to the National Football League after his junior year. He was also a guy that, considering the time he was able to put in, really made a bit of a mark for the Buffaloes in track.
Yeah, it's hard to completely or correctly evaluate Isaiah's talent as a track athlete because he plays football until January, comes out for 4 or 5 weeks and then has spring football and goes away for 5 and then comes back. But to finish 4th in a competitive conference decathlon such as the Pac-12 on that few weeks of preparation is indicative of his talent. He's a big talent.
Yeah. Is it in your mind tough for those athletes, maybe you're kind of indicating this, to compete in dual sports like that and not be there 100% of the time for your team?
It's becoming more and more rare. You will remember 30 or 40 years ago, they talked commonly about 2-sport athletes or 3-sport athletes. It's very rare now. Isaiah was one of 2, I believe, on our team who was trying to manage football and track. In defensive football, they're on football scholarships, and they want Isaiah at 230 pounds, and I want him at 190 pounds. And so it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah. How is it? We've talked about the Pac-12 being the top conference for cross-country in the nation. How about from a track standpoint? Kind of the same caliber of athletes we're talking about?
Well, across the entire spectrum of all the events of track and field, and track and field is like a 5-ring circus. You have 300-pound throwers and 90-pound distance runners and people who hurdle and jump. It goes on and on. Across that whole spectrum, the Pac-12 is very good. maybe the best in the country. The SEC is very good. I would say the SEC dominates certain event areas more than we do, but across everything, the Pac-12 is.
And before we let you go, and I know we're looking back, but let's glance forward. You got the Ponce Invitational coming up here in just a few weeks.
January 12th and 13th, our first home meets of the winter. We've only had one season previously in the IPF, so we're learning how to use it and learning how to pack more and more people in. If you come around on the 12th and 13th, you'll see close to 1,000 people jammed in the corners. It's fun.
Boy, looking forward to it as we wrap up all 17 sports here at the University of Colorado in 2017. As track coach Mark Letmore.
There it is.
Lofts it over the top. Wide open. Juwan Winfrey, the 50. And it's a foot race. 35-30, 25-20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Touchdown, Colorado. A strike of 79 yards. Wrapping up all 17 sports here at the University of Colorado for 2017. I'm voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. Splitting football, offense, and defense. Number 9. Well, I'm buying stock in this guy. I like him a lot. Wide receiver Juwan Winfrey joining us for a couple of minutes. Not the way you wanted the season to end, right?
No, not at all. You know, we put in a lot of work this offseason, you know, coming into this past season. And, you know, we had high expectations based off of last year. And, you know, we didn't live up to it. But that's just more motivation for next year. You know, we see where we lack, and we're not going like that next year. Definitely not for my senior year.
When you go back and kind of analyze things, because the year before, you guys have a 10-win team, seem to win close games down the stretch. The opposite happened in 2017. I mean, you weren't able to win those close games. You've been able to figure out what the difference is?
I believe a lot of it was chemistry. You know, you building a lot of chemistry this offseason. You know, this past offseason, everybody wasn't there. You know, defense, they need to be able to put that extra work in together. You know, so they can work as a team and just collaborate together. And offense, you know, that's big for us, especially for the quarterbacks and receivers. You know, the quarterbacks and receivers weren't on good pace this year. You know, we missed a lot of throws, and that's all not because of talent. That's just all chemistry. You know, we got to put the work in, more work in together, and the more we do, the outcome is going to be even better.
I'd have to think then what happened in 2017 is a motivating factor here in the offseason.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Without question, kind of pushes you guys in the weight room.
It started last week. You know, Coach said, you see how we went out, and you see that there's so many teams left in the bowl game, and we should be with them. There's not many teams that's better than us like that we should just be sitting out there. So he's starting us early. You know, these past 2 weeks has been crazy in the weight room, and it's not going to stop. You know, it's just the beginning, and we're just getting ready to get back on top how we should be.
It's amazing how quickly that senior year rolls around, and you're like, wow, the end is here. So you've got an extra motivating factor going into this offseason.
It is. You know, it's do or die for me. You know, I have big goals for myself, and, you know, I want to see myself make it there, and I'm not going to stop until I reach it.
Is there, I think, during this offseason then a lot of work that happens with you? You talk about timing, right? Talk about chemistry, making sure that you and LaVisca and the other guys that are returning receiving corps have a good relationship with Steven Montez in the field.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, that started already, you know, starting last week, and earlier this week, we've already been out there catching balls. You know, we're not running routes yet, but all the receivers are out there, and at least 3 quarterbacks are out there, and we're already throwing. You know, and that's just the start. That's all we need. When more people go out, more people are going to follow, and that's just the start of it.
As a leader on this team, how can you then maybe make an impact on the defense and make sure those guys are pulling their way too?
On the defense, we just got to encourage them because it wasn't all on the offense this year. You know, it was 50-50. The defense did what they did, the offense did what they did to see what we lacked. So we're just going to push them because they know that we have to score a lot of points this season, and that's our goal, to get back on offense to the high pace that we were on last year. So, you know, defense, we're just going to push them every day to be great, because if not, we're just going to keep scoring on them.
Erickson going to get hit. And that one wobbles into the hands of Colorado. Worthington still going.
Yeah, the defensive side, safety Evan Worthington joining us. He was an honorable mention All Pac-12 selection. All right, Buffs coming off a 5-7 season. No bowl game, not meeting expectations. What's kind of the taste in your mouth right now?
You know, the whole team's pretty sick right now. Everybody's just waiting for next season. It's so far away, but, you know, that just means we have all this time for improvement in ourselves, in the weight room, on the field, and all that. So right now we're just working on that.
You know, it really doesn't give you much time afterward, does it? I mean, because you automatically, if there's no bowl game, you guys are jumping right back into it, and it's already focusing on the year ahead.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely focusing on that right now. You know, it's been like a boot camp for us. Everything's like 10 times more serious. And, you know, that's just how it is right now. That's what we're working on.
When you go back and you think about this defense in 2016, and what was missing in 2017. Has he analyzed this, as I'm sure you guys do? What do you think was the difference?
I think the difference was experience. You know, we lost a lot of players from 2016 and had a lot of new guys, including me, in this 2017 team. So, you know, it's going to be good for us next season, having more experience on that defense.
You know, you made a lot of plays for the Buffaloes in 2017. When I say honorable mention all Pac-12, after sitting out a year and coming back, that's an awful nice honor for you, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it definitely is, for sure.
Do you look at now 2018 as being a season which you got to step up from a leadership standpoint in this team?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely do because, you know, this is my last season here, so I just got to give it all I got now.
Were you surprised when Isaiah Oliver declared for the NFL draft?
Oh, yeah, I was definitely surprised, but, you know, it's good for him. He has to do what he has to do, and, yeah, that's good for him.
How do you think you can improve in 2018?
You know, I got to get better with my eyes on the field, you know, and I just got to get stronger, faster, all that.
You know, I think when you kind of compare 16 and 17 a little bit, the Buffs were able to make plays down the stretch in 16 to win some ball games. Maybe those plays weren't made. How do you prepare for kind of making those moments or having impact moments in 2018?
You know, it's just practice. We gotta practice harder than we did last season, and it just comes down to that. Like the false and fast periods we be having, we just got to go harder in every period that we have.
You know, so many times you can't predict chemistry on a team. As you look at the guys that are coming back next season, do you kind of like the feel of the personalities involved?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We all like each other on the team. We're all feeling great right now in the weight room, so, yeah, we're feeling good. All
right, we're going to see big things from this guy, I think, in 2018. Safety Evan Worthington for the Colorado Buffaloes as we wrap up football on the defensive side. Welcome back to the Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. You know, a lot of times when we think about student athletes, you think about competition on their given sport and going to class. There's so much more to it. In fact, we had a chance to follow around senior golfer Brittany Fan, a day in the life of a Colorado student athlete.
Hi guys, I'm Brittany Fan. I'm on the women's golf team. This is how I start my day. Right now we had 7 a.m. workouts with our trainers, and they definitely worked us hard. So typically for golfers, what we do is we practice in the afternoon, which means that we have to work out in the morning because we don't have that much time. So we don't really get to sleep in that much, but I mean, it's nice coming here to work out with trainers who are always pushing us and they're always awake, and that kind of motivates us. Right after the workout, what's really nice is that in Coors or in the Champion Center, they have fueling stations for us. So basically, I'm going to grab a smoothie and some food and then head off to class. It's great to have a good support system with the trainers, the people in the academic department, coaches, that kind of stuff. But I mean, half of it comes from you wanting to get better and basically taking advantage of all the opportunities that you're given. One of the biggest things that you're going to have to do as an athlete is you're going to need to understand that you're going to have to sacrifice something. Because you have to maintain sport, school, and social, but you need to think about like what your priority is and how good you want to be. Maybe like 2 or 3 days out of the week I have to drive because my schedule is so closely packed that I don't have time to like walk from place to place and make it there. A lot of my friends who are not athletes, they try to understand and they kind of have this perception that, you know, student athletes get all these cool perks and they wish that like they could get those perks. But I don't think they fully understand the commitment and all the hard work that we actually have to put in. When we wear anything Colorado, we're representing not only ourselves, but our team, our school, our coaches, basically everyone that works with us. And I don't know if a lot of people understand that. But since they've added the Champion Center, it's gotten a whole lot better. And we got locker rooms. Very nice. So we go in there after workouts. You can go in there and sleep if you need to, but let's be honest, you never have time to sleep. Although I have a very busy schedule, what does help is, I guess, how pretty the campus is. I love the fact that we have 4 seasons, and I like how it's very outdoorsy, very naturey here, so that makes it really pretty. You'd think I would have a light class load as a senior, but for my major, I have 15 credits this semester, 15 credits next semester, plus I've got an internship. It's not very light. So this morning we got workouts done, we got eating breakfast done, walked to class, now I'm about to go into my class and basically be a student. And then after this I've got a meeting with my academic advisor. All right, so I just finished my class, and right now I'm about to meet with Mindy, who's my academic advisor. And basically what she does is she makes sure that I stay on top of things. I know the dates, any projects, exams, she wants to know the grades. And she basically makes sure that I'm doing okay. Being a student athlete, you have a very busy life, and sometimes things can get very stressful, very hectic. So if you know you're having issues or you need her to talk to professors for you or just figure things out, she's there for you academically or personally, so I think it's really good to have her there. So right now we're at the golf course, and I would say this is my favorite part of the day because not only is it relaxing, but I like to play golf. Just a little. I mean, you do get tired, but you kind of just have to pull through, and if you're out here practicing and your competition is not, that's one step further for you. The nice thing about the golf team is that I think we have about 6 to 8 different courses that we can go to, and then we also have an indoor facility out at Colorado National, and then one at Gate 10 in the stadium. We've got a simulator in there, we've got a TrackMan, and an indoor putting green. So when I signed to come to Colorado, I knew that I would be representing a really good school. So I think they give us so much that in return, not only from passion, but I think that you need to be putting in your best effort so that you can perform at your best level. So I'm gonna be out here practicing for a few hours, but then after this, I'm meeting with my group at 5 to work on a project, and then I have class from 6 to 8:30, and then I can finally go home and relax and probably do homework.
Well, you can see there's much more to a student-athlete's life than just going to class and competing, but I guess all things considered, as busy as it is, it's not a bad way to wrap up a day playing a round of golf.